it simple, right? So we got 4 columns, staff in there. We got, let's see, everybody else is logging in. So, okay. So if you can go on to the next slide. Okay, so this chapter really is about like what we say. We're really just thinking deeply about like some self-talk all the time. We're thinking about like things that are going on. We're really not aware of it. So this is the kind of talk that's just going on in the background. So when you're in class or when you're like thinking negatively, what are some things that you might think of that come to mind? Like you think of these things negatively and you don't have anything to say, but that like negative self-talk just kind of pops up. So what are things that come up in your minds? Mr. Thompson.
Okay, so one of the ones that I've been dealing with lately, kind of these intrusive thoughts during classes, and it's just like, maybe that wasn't good enough, that drill wasn't good enough, or something like that. And it kind of slides under everything I'm doing. And I feel like a lot of people deal with like a similar type of silent self-talk. If that makes sense, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, I mean, we all deal with these negative thoughts that come into mind and we think about them. And the idea here is like, how do we replace them? And we're going to go into this in this chapter of like, how do you replace some of those negative things? But we have to first identify what are the negative things that we think of and what are the things that come to our mind. So today, think about like during your day, what was a negative self-talk thought that came up?
It looks like somebody in Johnstown has their hand up if they can unmute.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, if you can unmute them.
I think.
Wait, who is that?
This is Carson.
Hey, Carson.
I think at Greenbelt, I might be able to have different combos and different creeds. Because I'm starting to get bored with the ones at high roll.
So you're having the negative self-talk that you're getting bored
Yes.
with the things you're doing?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's a really good, thank you, Carson. Who's ever felt bored, like even today, who felt bored with something that they were doing? Everybody, almost everybody felt bored today at some point, right? We all can have these feelings of I'm bored, there's this, there's that, but it's okay to have that. You just need to recognize it. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can replace that. But first of all, let's get the rest of the negative self-talks out there, because I've heard I'm bored. What about frustrated? Or maybe some of you guys have been feeling like underappreciated as adults, or maybe there's other like negative self-talks that are out there. So I'd really like everybody to share right now.
I can start. I sometimes tell myself that it's really hard to balance everything.
Good. So balancing things, and I don't know if I can balance my workload with my personal and home life. Good. Anybody else?
Miss Celeste, if you unmute yourself, you can share what's something that you say that's negative.
What did you say?
Can you share something that you say in your head that's negative?
Like, like a few days ago, I just started gymnastics and I wasn't really good at it. In my head, I set out, I'm like horrible at this, but after like the half of the day, that's all that's there. I was actually pretty good at it.
Celeste, thank you for sharing. So you said that you were you were horrible at it. What made you feel that way? Why did you think that? That before you went
Like
to the class or while you were there?
While I was there, like I couldn't even do a handstand. Like, but I can't do somersaults. It just doesn't work.
But you said you felt a little bit different later, right?
And I'm going tomorrow, so I can kind of like practice more.
Awesome. So, ma'am, if you can go to the next slide here.
Yes, sir.
So this is the next part, is anything that you say out loud to yourself or someone else about yourself is self-speak. And that's what we say. And like you just said that out loud. And that's an important part, right? You just said you didn't feel like you were good at it, or you couldn't do a handstand or whatever. And what you say when you're speaking makes an important part of pictures in your direction and feeding into your subconscious mind. The result will be that your brain will act on these instructions. Realize it, but those things that you say, your brain's going to start to react. But that's the next part. So if you go to the next slide. The easiest way to determine which of the people around you are real winners at life are the ones that are not. So listen to yourself speak. Are you really saying anything that's going to be a winner's talk? Winners use self-speak to build an attitude that produces winning results. So what can you say to replace that? That's the next part, is if you're saying, well, I don't know if I can do this, or what can you say that's going to replace that? So Miss Celeste, what could you say tomorrow? You're going to gymnastics tomorrow and you're going to go in there and rock it. What can you say tomorrow that's going to replace that and be positive?
I can do this.
Awesome. Okay. What about for cons? We have Miss Macy.
Yeah, a good example is that this morning I was learning how to play tennis and I was getting pretty frustrated with myself because I'm very new at it. And so instead of being mad at myself for not being good, I was happy that I could be getting better by practicing.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? I see in Johnstown.
Something.
Oh wait, hold on,
about
Chris.
the creeds.
Yes, Amias, go.
So when I first started karate,
Go.
So when I first started karate, I was bad and I told myself something negative that I couldn't do it. And where I am from now, I said to myself that I could do this, but I can't do it just yet.
Very good. Thank you for sharing, buddy. All right, so let's think about small goals. Tomorrow or next week or the week after in karate, we have some small goals, right? So think about your small goals. What do you want to accomplish in the next couple of weeks? Some of you guys have a big goal coming up. Miss Macy has a 3rd-degree black belt test. Celeste, you're going to be testing for a stripe. Some of you have these small goals that are coming up, and as you're thinking about these small goals, what are some obstacles or things that you think of beforehand that you might go, well, I'm scared about this, or I'm worried about this? So think about those things and talk about them just briefly. So we'll start with Miss Macy, or actually, who's raising their hand there? Is that Mr. Miller?
and I don't have my schedule yet because last year was last year. So I'm really nervous that my schedule is not going to be what I want it to be, and that it's going to be a big hassle to get it fixed.
Okay, good. That's a perfect example. You're saying it's going to be a big hassle to get it. What makes that a big hassle?
It's something process I don't know very much about.
It's really just your mindset, right? Like if it's going to be a big hassle, it's because you're thinking it's going to be that way. But if you can and know without a doubt that you're going to be able to do it, and I know you are, grab the schedule. So what are things that you can say about your schedule and how it's not going to be a hassle, that you can reframe that and make it positive?
When I get it, I can make changes, and the counselors will work with me to make the schedule work for me.
Awesome. You just nailed it, sir. So now it's exactly it. Like, and you already knew that in the back of your mind. You're a black belt. So these are the upcoming challenges, and I'm going to be able to work with my counselors. I'm going to be able to do it, and I'm going to be able to figure it out. So good, positive self-talk. All right. What about anybody else? How about Miss Macy? I know you were about ready to share.
Yeah, like you said, perfectly. There's a lot of things that go into that know, and I'm kind of nervous I'm not going to get to know everything in time, or not get it crammed in my brain in time.
Good. So who really, without 100% doubt, like thinks that they're going to start the school year off and rock it? Like raise your hand if you really think you're going to just start the school year off and be awesome. Okay. So what can you do and tell yourself on a daily basis that's going to help you? Because again, that's all about that positive self-talk. Like, I've got this, it's going to be easy, but you got to continue to give yourself that feed of, I'm going to be able to start the school year off awesome. So what are some positive statements that you guys can say for the school year? Anybody have anything that they can say about how they're going to finish this year?
What about Mr. Kostler's? They always have really good ideas and statements.
Yes, please.
How about like I'm gonna get an A++ on my report card, or
Good. For every class?
yeah, for every class. For every class.
Awesome. Okay. You can share too, bud.
My ideas that I have is that I am going to get skill up proficient at every Khan Academy lesson. Like there are these lessons, Khan Academy lessons that I take, and I plan to get level proficient on every one of them before summer ends.
Good. Okay. Who's sitting next to you, Mr. Miller? You have a orange belt here. I don't believe I know her.
This is Miss Ryan.
Okay, Miss Ryan. Next year you have some goals, right, in school? Can you say some positive goals, like what you're going to do? Say it in the, like it's already happened.
schedule, what I'm doing in class.
Mr. Miller, could you say what she said a little louder for Master Macy to hear?
Can you guys hear us?
Now we can.
Okay. She said she's gonna pay attention to try harder in class.
Good. Okay. And how were your grades last year?
That she thinks she can do better. We might be having some technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So you're gonna do better. And how about getting A's and B's, no C's? Would that be a good goal? Good.
Mr. Van and Mr. West, I know your cameras aren't on, but you also have lots of great things to share. Can one of you unmute and share?
My goal is to get awesome grades this year and to get my first gold star.
Awesome. So you were very like adamant in saying I'm gonna get my first gold star. That's good, because that like affirmation of what you're doing, that's the self-speak that we're looking for. Good job, bud. Somebody in Johnstown is raising their hand.
We probably start at Greenville and then go up to Purple Belt and then a year quit and then a year go up and then a year.
What did you say your goal was? You said your goal was what belt?
Orange belt.
Orange belt.
Orange.
Good job, bud. All right, so orange belt's your next goal. All right. Well, who's excited about starting school? A couple of you guys. Okay, so Mr. Miller, as a black belt instructor, I want you to unmute yourself, and I want you to give everybody a couple of quick pointers as to what you think is so important about being focused and determined in the start of the school year.
A lot of times my teachers give me time to do homework in class, but sometimes I decide I'd rather play on my phone than do my homework, and that always comes back and bites me in the butt. So if you have the time, spend it on schoolwork, do the schoolwork first.
Good. Okay. How about Miss Macy, another black belt?
Yeah, I think it's really important to like pay attention to a lot of the typing. Something they might say might not be on whatever text they give you, and so you have to be listening very carefully.
I have one as well, Master Macy. So as like a education major, I think one of the biggest things for students to start finding out is the best way for them to be studying. So I study differently than other people will study. And we have different things that our brains latch onto. Some people need to repeat a whole bunch and some people need to make new connections. So kind of finding your style of learning outside of the classroom is what I recommend to students this year.
Very good. That's a great point. So who likes to use flashcards when they study? Good. Who likes to listen to their teachers or like audio books or something like that? Who's an audio learner? Okay. And who likes to actually do the work? Who likes to jot down the notes and scribble? And that's called kinesthetic. So everybody, Mr. Yeah, that's awesome. So everybody's recognizing that there's different styles, right? So we all are able to visually and audio and kinesthetic learn. So that's important. Mr. Jacob, yeah, what are you holding up there?
Mr. Ethan, what were you holding up? Was that a box of Kleenex?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just holding this here because I'm kind of getting sniffly today.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for, I thought you were holding it up as a prop. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today in the Mac Chat. Looks like we're almost there. Next week, we have a whole new series. Who is going to be doing the board break seminar? I want to see the board break seminar is coming up. I want to see that. If anybody's doing the board break seminar, raise your hand. Good. Oh,
We've
almost
already
everybody.
had 47 people register in less than 24 hours, sir.
Okay, well, I think what's most important is that this is a really good cause and we're going to try to raise a bunch of money. And I want you guys to think of some really cool breaks, because if you come to me with a board break, because the week before we're going to be doing a seminar. So if anybody has any ideas as to what you want to break with, I want you to bring that to me, because I want you to be able to help you break those boards. And we're going to raise a lot of money. So thank you guys all for being in here.
Thank you, sir. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody.